Hello, Red Foxes. Campbell Woods, head coach of the Marist men's rowing team. I'm here with an update and a recap from the head of the Schuylkill this past weekend. We had a great day. We had a lot of fun with the team. This is actually my first time attending the head of the Schuylkill. The team has been going to the head of the fish for a long time, and so this was a big transition year for the team to go try something new. I wanted to first and foremost mention that the Schuylkill does a great job. For any programs that are out there, wondering whether or not that's a good spot for them. I know there's lots of horror stories about disorganization and things of that nature, and from a coach who's been going to the head of the fish for a very long time, the Schuylkill was surprisingly well run, pretty organized considering the number of athletes, and we felt like everyone had a fair race and ran in a relatively timely manner. There were nice awards at the end for the people who won awards, and overall it was pretty impressive product considering how many people raced throughout the day. So props to the Schuylkill for putting on a great event. I'm uncertain if we'll be back next year, but signs are promising. The team had 13 entries, so it was a very busy day on the ground. We had 2 pairs, 4 fours, 2 freshman 8s, 4 junior varsity 8s, and a varsity 8 at the end of the day. And then within that time, we also had 2 alumni boats race representing the Red Fox Navy. We had not a grand veteran. It was a senior veteran 4, so all over 70. Average age, and then we also had a veteran 8, which was all over 60. So pretty cool to see those guys out there getting it done. We had a lot of fun with them and got to see them hanging out at the race course. Bob Misser, our alumni president, was hanging around, as well as some of the other alumni. I know Bob Sneeden was there, so thank you everyone who showed up to support the team. We also had a huge parent contingent and a full food tent set up. Kept the athletes well fueled throughout the day, so thanks everyone who took part in that. And I'll give you a quick recap of the race. The pairs went first pretty early in the morning, about 8:30. We had 2 pairs. One was our only 2 seniors, Thomas Graves and Liam Clem, and the other was 2 of our sophomore class, James Hodge Andreas and Tristan Wistuba. Tristan and James started right behind the 2 seniors, and I think we're pretty determined to catch them. And then they were inevitably able to catch them. At one point in the race, both Marist boats were in basically like a 4 across battle with some of the other boats that they were racing against. The event was eventually won by the crew from Penn, UPenn, and James and Tristan placed 3rd. And the 2 seniors, Liam and Mr. Graves, placed 5th overall in the pairs event. So cool event for them. We literally took the delivery of the pairs maybe 48 hours before they raced, and both crews got maybe 2 sessions in the pair before they went out and raced them. So props to the athletes for putting together a very honest performance in those boats. And I wanted to mention it was really cool seeing Liam and Graves racing together. The 2 of those guys have been through quite a bit with the team and a lot of ups and downs. And so cool to see them They requested to to row that shell together as the only 2 seniors on the team, and it was cool to see them out getting it done, rowing together, and they had a great race. The next event for us was the fours, championship fours event. We had 4 different lineups. I'm not going to name every name because it would take all day. But basically our top 4, which contained 2 of the members of the Varsity 8 and 2 of the members of the second Varsity 8. That boat placed, sorry, I'm looking at my stuff here. They placed 8th out of 37 boats. The B boat placed 16th out of 37. The C boat placed 25th, and the D boat placed 18th. So that was the surprise of that event, was that the D boat did a great job, had a really good rhythm and a good race, and they outpaced the C crew by quite a bit. 14:01 was their time to 14:08, so about 7 seconds and 5 or 6 places. So good for that boat. Showed there's some power in there that we clearly hadn't spotted on the coaching end. Nice to see those guys having a good race. The senior veteran 4 race next. Again, that boat was all over 70 years old, so huge props to those guys to get out and race. We had them out for practice up here at home last week and found a decent rhythm right around a 26, and they went out and executed the race right around that average stroke rate. Got down the course in an adjusted time of 14:56, and they placed 5th out of a possible 6 entries. So nice to see those guys on the water. The next event was the freshman novice 8s, and this was an event that Coach Stratton and I kind of felt ahead of time was probably one of our best opportunities of the day to get some medals, considering our very large and very strong freshman class. And the crew did not disappoint. The top freshman 8, the A boat, placed first out of 19 crews, less than a second off of the crew from Embry-Riddle, which was right behind them. Embry-Riddle is a technical college in Florida who their crew's been coming along pretty fast in the last couple years. So really cool for them. Embry-Riddle got to start in the first position, and so they had the advantage in that event. They had a clean line. The Marist 8 had to pass 4 or 5 crews during their race, and managed to do that cleanly and had a great row. So really cool for those guys to get a medal. And we won a big trophy as well, which I'll post a picture of at some point on the Facebook and stuff. There was another freshman 8, a B boat in that event. That crew had 3 of our current novice oarsmen in there. So good for those guys for getting a row in. And a race in, and continuing their trajectory in the sport. That crew placed 10th out of 19, and so it was a good showing for them. They beat a lot of other decent crews, and we're looking forward to their continued upward trajectory. All right, then we had 4 club championship 8s, which is essentially the junior varsity division. Again, I won't name all the names because it would take 1,000 years, but the top boat placed 13th out of 50. The B boat, which is our 3rd varsity, placed 33rd out of 50. The C boat placed 37th out of 50, and the D boat placed 45th out of 50. overall, good event. We felt like the times that were posted were pretty competitive. The JV 8 in particular had a really decent run. There were numerous crews that finished ahead of them that actually were the varsity crew of that team. So among the JV 8s, I think they probably came in closer to like 7th or 8th, which was pretty good for that group. And I think what we saw in the event was pretty similar to what we've been seeing in practice over the last week, which is that the 2V has been doing a really good job and hanging closer to the Varsity 8 speed, and then the 3V and 4V have been really close, which is a testament to the 4V, because that was not necessarily the case a couple weeks ago, but the 4V has really stepped up their game and started to elevate up to get closer and closer to the 3V. So good race by all those crews. Worth noting that there was one novice, Joe Kraus, who rode in that 5th varsity crew. So good for Joe for getting in there. He was on port side and 4-seat, and looking forward to big things from him as he continues his career. The next boat was the Veterans 8, which is our Red Fox Navy entry. Again, that crew, being the veteran category, were all over 60, or average age over 60. And they pulled a time of 14 minutes and 15 seconds and placed 5th out of the 5 crews in the event. And again, just, with that group, really great to see them get out. I know there were some guys talking about training a little bit more seriously, maybe doing some races over the summer and starting to get more active. I think that could be really fun for this alumni group. It seems pretty clear that there's a deep number of people who are interested in getting their hands on an oar more consistently. So would definitely love to see that happen. The final event, the Championship 8, was our varsity crew. The same crew that rode at the head of the Charles last week. This boat pulled 11:53.8 time and placed 18th out of the 24 crews in their event. So worth noting, their event, very different mix of crews. Owing to the way the regatta is set up, the Championship 8s is a lot of the more serious teams. In particular, Penn and Navy had a lot of their crews in that championship event, rowing 3 to 5 8s deep of Championship 8s. So, very, very competitive. There were a number of other crews with their top 8s in there. Our placing, basically after the race, we described it to the athletes as we kind of beat everyone that we had to beat, but we didn't beat anyone that we wanted to beat, that was kind of above and beyond. I think that there's probably a combination of reasons. One is the conditions were a little fluky. It was a big tailwind all day, and I think that the boat had a little bit of trouble finding a really strong rhythm in the early part of the race, and the rowers seemed to feel like the first couple thousand meters felt a little bit scrambled, and then they ended up being able to find a little bit better rhythm towards the end of the piece. And so definitely, like, having trouble finding the rhythm was a part of it. I think we were a little bit tired. We'd been out in the sun all day. All the athletes had already rowed a race. So, overall, like, hard to go and give 100% of your best race when you've already had a big race earlier in the day. So overall, we had a great time at the event. Again, thanks to everyone who showed up, parents, alumni. thanks again to the alumni who showed up to race. That was a lot of fun, and it's always cool for the athletes to meet everybody and see you actively racing. We are looking forward to this coming weekend, which is going to be the Princeton Chase. That will just be our top 8 and a spare pair rowing at that event. That will close out the fall season. And we'll do a bigger recap of the fall at that time and kind of talk about what's next for the crew and what's coming up for winter training and then headed into spring. Thanks again for everyone for joining us in Philly or keeping track from afar. And we'll look forward to giving you more content after our next race this coming Sunday.